Hey there, this is Jonathan, and in the following set of tutorials, we're going to take a look at using Premiere Pro 2019 in order to create a Ken Burns effect style video, basically traveling to Rome. And here's what the Ken Burns effect is. It's when you take images and you turn them basically into video by scaling and zooming them. It was kind of pioneered by Ken Burns, who is a documentary filmmaker, and he was famous for doing documentaries like Civil War and baseball, and so he used a lot of images instead of video, but you pan and zoom across those images and you really create some advanced really looking things. And you'll see that people have done this all over the place, where you have images and text, and you can see them fading in and out of each other here with a little effect that's happening. So this Ken Burns effect has been around for a long time, and it's really part of our visual lexicon that you just need to know how to do as a designer. Now, once again, we're going to be using some images of Rome for ours, so we'll address that later on. I have a bunch of different things that I'm going to worry about, including learning the interface, basically organizing, importing images into Premiere, using the Ken Burns effect, and hopefully get to the advanced Ken Burns effects where we add two layers that we're animating at the same time, adding some text in Premiere, some essential graphics as well, probably that's one video, a little bit of color correction and grading possibly, and then finally exporting our sequences. Now you can find other tutorials for this particular effect as well, so certainly this is a pretty common thing out there and you should find some resources. Now, when you open up Premiere Pro 2019, you'll notice that we have a new home workspace, which is kind of nice, or a panel, I guess a window really. It's nice because you can go ahead and browse some of the different tutorials that they have available for you. You can also create and open projects, and even recent projects, and filter them if you have a whole lot of them. And you can even open up Premiere Rush projects, which is their new basic editor, which you can use on a smartphone or a tablet. It's really kind of a neat piece of software. And also you can create a team project with Adobe Creative Cloud. I'm going to click on this first tutorial though, and this opens up the Getting Started video, which you can find is way deep into your Adobe Premiere folders. Now the nice thing about this particular project is that it has video clips and audio and all that for us to deal with already, which is a great way to basically learn some of the panels and workflow of Adobe Premiere Pro. So one of the things you'll notice as I click around, we've got a lot of different panels here, and each time you click, one of those panels turns blue. Now the first tip that you definitely want to learn is press the tilde key in order to make that panel go full screen, and then the tilde key again to make it go close. You can open up the program window and press the space bar and watch your video, and then you can press the tilde key and make it go back, which is great. Now you can also close these panels by right-clicking and closing them, or you can move them around if you want. Now if you've ever moved it around and you don't like the position, you can right-click back on that workspace at the top and reset back to the saved layout. Now one of the things that we can also do is close these panels and then make the workspace work for us. In fact, you'll notice that there are a bunch of different workspaces that are already here, and I've even got one that I set up myself. There's one for assembly, which really should have the project window first, one for editing. I might have to reset back to the save layout on that one. There's one for, oh yeah, every once in a while I get a little bug in here in this editing workspace for some reason. Not exactly sure what's going on there. So I'm going to go up to my workspaces here, go over to effects, hopefully that will fix. So there's the effects workspace, the audio workspace, the graphics workspace. And I actually find that if I go back to the editing workspace, which may or may not work, this is basically what we're trying to simulate, is this basic editing workspace. But I'm going to do it by, hopefully, if I get back to that learning one, by adding in just the panels that I need. So up here in the window menu, these are all the different panels that we need, and we need basically the effects controls and effects panel. So I'm going to click on the effects controls and then go to the window panel, click on effects, and that will be project and effects, and then source and effects controls, and then our program, and then our sequence, our timeline down here. And then you'll see we have our audio levels here on the right, which we can probably make pretty small. It doesn't need to be too big, but you'll see our audio levels as we're watching our program. That's pretty much everything I need for all of the major editing. Now, there are great panels in here for sure. And so, we'll be using the Lumetri color panel, but we can access that in the color workspace. But if you've gone ahead and added the effects controls and effects panel, then go ahead and go to Window, go to Workspaces, create this as a new workspace. So I'm going to call it DME Edit, I think is what I called it. And take a screenshot of this just to show that you have created this same workspace, and you'll find it up here. Might be able to drag that around, but I'm not sure that it allows me to do that. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I can take this and put it up at the top, which is great. So that way I have that one accessible easily on the top. Now, what I like about that is that it's a little bit more streamlined. It has just what I need and nothing else. Now, in the assembly panel, though, I do like this one because it gives me a big project window, which allows me to basically start organizing my footage. Now, over on the left, you'll see that we have a list view or an icon view. In the list view, you can really tell the difference between the different items, where some of them are clips and a couple of them are audio, and then we have a sequence. Now, I know that this project is called Returning Home. If I listen to that, pressing the spacebar at the beginning.
This is my story of returning home.
I'm going to give this a better name. Instead of calling it My Sequence, I'm going to call it Returning Home. It's a much better name for the sequence than My Sequence. The other thing that I want to do is organize those footage items into a bin, and I'm going to call that Footage. Then you can shift click on all those items and drag it in. Now, when you go back to the icon view, you'll notice that now you can't see all the footage until you double click on that footage folder and you go actually inside of it. And now you have the ability to zoom this footage up just a little bit, and you can also see some different things about how it's ordered. So you can see like video codec or order them by user order or whatever you want to do things. You can move things around if you like. There you go. So it's pretty easy that you can drag things around and create your own order, which is kind of fun. Now notice that when you scroll over these, you're actually scrubbing their timelines. With the audio, you can't scrub it until you get onto it, and then you can click on that blue bar right there, and then you can scrub the timeline and listen to what's being said, even with your music. You can also press the space bar anytime you have a timeline indicator on a footage item, and it will play from that point forward. That works the same way on a timeline. When you click somewhere, you jump to that time and you press the space bar.
My story of returning home.
And it plays just that
This
one
is
section.
my story.
Now you can also click and drag, and it will scrub the timeline, and that's where you'll hear that scrubbed audio. And this is really, really common. Now you can also press the J and the K and the L. So you can press L to go forward. You can press K to stop and J to go backwards. So there's some keyboard shortcuts which allow you to move forward and backward in time as well. Now, once you've gone ahead and made your assembly, you can go back to your main panel, because this is going to be our edit panel that we use for our layout, workspace for all the different projects that we're going to do. And I want to take you quickly over to the preferences. Over in the preferences, you should be aware of some of the preferences that you have. One of the things that you might notice is that under the appearance, by default, it's pretty dark. I kind of go into a lighter thing. I like that. You've got some audio and audio hardware. If you've got things like a microphone that you have and you want to change whether or not you're using some sort of output, then you'd want to do that there. Another thing definitely to be aware of is the autosave, how often it's going to save your project and how many different versions it's going to save it. You can even back up your projects to the Creative Cloud, which is kind of nice. A couple other things that you want to be aware of. Let's see. I think under the media and media cache, these can be important because you want to know where it's saving your files to, I suppose. You also might want to go ahead and optimize your RAM if you need. If it's running sluggishly, you might want to check what your RAM settings are and see if you can get some different things going on there. I'm not going to change any of the other settings themselves, but you should just explore the different features when you need to, especially when it comes to hardware, the auto save, and then possibly the appearance. Those are my main things that I go to. Let's go ahead and stop this project and go on to the next one, but definitely take a little bit more time to explore some of the different items that are here and just play around with Premiere, just trying to play with this particular item. I should have mentioned though, before I go on, that when you are scrubbing through your timeline, you'll see it automatically selects your different footage items, and up in the effects controls, this is what we're going to be using a lot. You'll notice that as I scrub through, it shows that current clip that I'm over the top of up in the effects controls, and you'll see even little things like this. It shows that cross dissolve. I can click on that and it shows me just the cross dissolve itself up there. So it's kind of nice. You just want to really be aware of the effects controls. We'll be using that quite a lot. Let's go on to our project. So stop this video and go to the next.